The air was thick with smoke and rot. On the industrial moon Arkin 12, nothing smelled clean. The sky was always gray. The wind carried ash and the stink of burning oil. Giant towers pumped black clouds into the sky. Trash stretched across the ground like a sea. It wasn't just garbage. It was where the forgotten lived. Refugees, runaways, broken machines, and sometimes broken people. Reed Garrow stepped down from his cargo hauler. He was a tall human man, muscles under his worn jacket, boots cracked. From too many hard landings, he wasn't rich. It's just another scrap runner, looking for parts, fuel, and maybe something valuable in the junk. His ship, the Wren, waited behind him, still humming gently. He always left it ready to fly, just in case. He walked through the piles of trash, kicking aside wires and bent panels. This area was old, nothing but rust, broken crates, and crushed. Robot limbs. Then he heard it. A voice, a soft one. Human. Please, my daughter. He froze. The voice was weak, shaking. He turned his head, looking through a broken crate. Nothing. Then again there. Near the edge of a collapsed pile, a figure moved. He walked closer. A woman sat on her knees, trembling. Her skin was a faint lilac color, smeared with grime and bruises. Her white eyes were wide with fear. She wore torn cloth and no shoes. Her arms were cut, her lips dry. Please, she begged, her voice barely above a whisper under the pile. She's under there. Reed stepped closer. Who? Daughter, she's in there trapped. The junk fell. I can't lift it. Others walked by in the distance. Aliens, workers, some with carts, some with tools. No one stopped. Some glanced and looked away. Most didn't even notice. Reed's hands clenched. He looked at the pile. It was huge. Metal pipes, sharp edges. Half a broken vehicle. Old parts rusted together. He could have walked away, but he didn't. He dropped his bag. Stand back. She blinked, shocked. You'll help. Reed didn't answer. He was already pulling metal from the pile. A sharp piece cut his hand, but he ignored it. He pulled, lifted, tossed aside chunks of metal, moving faster as time went on. She's small, the woman said. Only 5. Black hair. Green eyes. Please be careful. Reed nodded. Minutes passed. Sweat rolled down his forehead. His hands bled. His arms burned. Still he kept going. Then he saw it. A tiny hand at his heart stopped. Got her. He shouted. He reached in, pulled more junk aside. Then the arm, then the face. A small alien girl, just as the mother said. Green eyes, dark tangled hair, tiny frame, unconscious. Barely breathing Reed gently scooped her up. She's alive. He said. The mother let out a cry, part joy, part pain. She reached for her daughter and held her close, rocking back and forth. Thank you. Reed smiled. But something felt wrong. A soft click. Beneath where the girl had been trapped, a small blinking light. A mine. Reed's eyes widened. He shoved the mother aside and dove to cover the girl. The explosion rocked the junkyard. Metal flew in every direction. A tower of crates fell. Smoke rose into the air. Everyone turned now. The ones who ignored them before were watching. Some ran, some ducked, some stared. When the dust cleared, Reed was still there. He was on the ground, arms wrapped around the girl, back burned, clothes ripped but alive. The mother stared in shock. You should be dead. Reed stood up slowly, helping the girl into her arms. That was a trap. Someone planted that mine. She nodded, eyes wide with fear. The slavers. They use bait. Refugees. They wait for someone kind. Someone like you. Matt looked down at his chest. A faint blue glow was fading from his skin. He didn't know where it came from. I've seen that glow before, she whispered, trembling. Not from normal men. Before he could speak, a sound echoed overhead. A high-pitched WHIRR. Reed looked up. A black drone hovered above, red light blinking. It scanned him. The girl, a voice came from it. Target acquired. Extraction in 12 minutes. Hold position. The drone flew away fast. Reed turned to the mother. They're coming for her. She nodded slowly, terrified. And now, they'll come for you too. Asterisk, the drone was gone, but its message echoed in Reed's ears. Extraction. In 12 minutes. Reed's hand still shook from the explosion. His palms were torn, and his sleeves were half burnt. Yet the pain didn't matter. The girl was safe. For now, he turned toward the alien mother. She knelt in the dirt, clutching her daughter, tightly whispering something over and over in her language, something like a prayer, or maybe just her name. What's her name? Reed asked, breath short. Thela, the woman answered, her voice low. My daughter's name is Thela. Reed crouched beside her, scanning the horizon. Trash towers swayed in the wind. Sparks snapped from broken cables above. In the distance, one of the other refugees pulled down a curtain over his shack and disappeared. They're not going to help, Reed said. You saw what they did when you begged. They're scared, the woman said. They know what happens to those who speak out. Reed stood, brushing soot from his jacket. Well, they're going to see what happens when someone does. He looked down at the girl, her chest rising gently, but her skin pale, lips cracked, body cold. We need shelter, he said. She needs warmth, food. If slavers are coming, we need to disappear. No, the mother said quickly. No, you don't understand. Once they scan someone, they don't stop. They'll burn half this junkyard to get her back. Frowned. Who is she to them? The mother's mouth trembled, but she didn't answer. Tell me, said silence. Then behind them, a soft mechanical sound, like claws, scraping metal. Reed turned sharply. A slaver drone, not flying. Crawling, 4 metal limbs, sharp and fast, emerging from the shadows like a spider. Red eye blinking, it had already found them. Run, Reed shouted. He grabbed the mother's arm and pulled her up. What? She stumbled but held tight to Thela. Together. They sprinted through the trash maze, narrow paths between heaps of old machines. And rusted walls, the drones skittered behind them, fast, inhuman. Silent except for the crunch of trash under its legs, Reed turned a corner sharply, then ducked under a hanging pipe. The drone sliced through it without slowing. Up there. The mother pointed to a rusted walkway above a heap. Reed leaped first, grabbed a beam, and climbed. Then he reached down and pulled them both up. Thela didn't even stir. She was too. Weak, too cold, they ran across the thin walkway, but halfway through, it gave a loud groan. It's going to break, the mother screamed. The drone was below now, climbing straight up the junk tower, claws piercing metal, red spotted, an old elevator shaft nearby. Its door was gone. And cables hung loosely down the center. He didn't think he just jumped. He grabbed the thickest cable and slid down, his hands burning, sparks flying from rusted pulleys. He landed with a hard thud, turned, and caught Thela. As her mother jumped down after him, they landed in a dark tunnel, quiet echoing. Cold wind blew through it. Reed looked around. This place wasn't trash. It was forgotten infrastructure. Pipes, generators, an old drainage system. He looked. At the ceiling, the drone didn't follow. Not yet. The mother looked at him strangely. You move like a soldier. I'm just a scrap hauler. You didn't hesitate. You jump into fire, climb metal, take charge. That's not normal. Reed paused. He had no memory of training. It's no military badge. Nothing but old instincts and a ship he barely owned. Then Thela stirred in her. Mother's arms. She opened her eyes slightly and looked at Reed. Her fingers reached up, brushing his cheek. The moment her skin touched his, a soft blue spark passed between them. Not fire, not pain. A pulse. The mother gasped. Reed felt it too, like something inside his chest had turned on. The tunnel lights, long dead, flickered to life. What was that? He asked. The mother was shaking. It's true. Stories are true. Some humans were bred during the old wars. Machines inside their blood. Soldiers mixed with command codes. They were said to be lost. Extinct. Not one of them, Reed said, backing away. She touched you, and the power came, the mother whispered. That's why the drone backed off. That's why the mine didn't kill you. He didn't answer. Suddenly a sound from above. Multiple. Metal legs. More drones? They had found the shaft? Come on, he said. He picked up Thela in both arms and began running deeper into the tunnel. Where are we going? The mother called behind him. Reed didn't look back. Someplace only I know.
Ow.
And if I'm who you say I am, it might just wake up. The tunnel twisted like a broken snake. Reed ran with the alien girl in his arms. Her skin felt cold. Her breathing was shallow but steady. Behind him, the mother followed, limping, her breath sharp and fast. Above them, faint clangs echoed. Metallic feet crawling along the shafts, searching. They were not safe. Not yet. I think we lost them, the mother whispered. No, Reed said. Without slowing, we just got ahead. The deeper they went, the colder it became. The light faded behind them. The only glow came from old blue strips along the walls, faint and flickering. Reed stopped at a rusted panel built into the tunnel wall. Most would miss it. He pressed his hand against a cracked piece of metal. Nothing happened. He tried again. Suddenly, a low beep and the wall trembled. A metal door slid open. The mother stared. How did you? I found this 2 years ago, Reed said. Tried opening it a dozen times. Never worked. But now it did. When you're holding her, Reed didn't answer. He stepped through the door into darkness. Then lights blinked to life, one by one, down a long hallway made of steel and wire. The place wasn't junk. It was a hidden facility. Old Earth tech. What is this place? The mother whispered. Some kind of bunker, Reed said. Maybe military, maybe black market. But everything's powered down. As they walked, the hallway opened into a wide circular chamber. In the center stood a pod like a glass coffin, upright, with wires plugged into the walls. Reed laid the girl gently on the floor beside it. She needs warmth, said. The mother kneeled beside Thela, wrapping her in a cloak of rags. She was born with a mark, she whispered. Slavers saw it when she was still an infant. What kind of mark? The mother looked at Reed, her face pale. A code, one they recognize. They believe she's property. She's a child, Reed snapped. To you, the mother said. But to them, she's a tool. She has something buried in her blood, a tracker or a transmitter, something old. Maybe even from the days of the Terran collapse. Reed felt his stomach twist. What about you? He asked. Who are you? I was a servant to a lost house, she said, eyes down. When the wars ended, our world was taken. I ran, I hid. But they never stopped searching. Not for her. Reed turned back to the pod. Something about it called to him. He touched the glass. It lit up. A voice spoke, deep, male, mechanical, identity matched. Command access granted. Welcome. I read. Terran, Strike Commander 471A. Red stumbled. Back. That's not me, he whispered. The voice continued. Cryoshell unlocked. Reactivating backup systems. Weapons bay booting. Lights flickered on across the room. Hidden panels opened. Inside, human weapons, armor, tools. Some glowing with unfamiliar. Tech screens came alive with old Earth symbols. The mother stared at him. Strike Commander, she said. You really are one of them. Reed shook his head. I'm not a soldier. I fly trash. I barely survive. Something was put inside you, she whispered. Maybe your ancestors. Maybe you were never told, but the machines know. Pod just confirmed it. He turned to her slowly. Then why don't I remember anything? Maybe you were hidden. Maybe you were supposed to stay forgotten. Before Reed could reply, one of the screens lit up with a warning. Incoming signatures detected. 4 units. 6 minutes, they found us. Reed moved to the weapons panel. He hesitated, but his hand moved with strange certainty. He pulled a rifle off the wall. It fit perfectly. He picked up a bracer. It locked onto his arm, syncing with his pulse. His eyes narrowed. You said they think Thela is property, he said. But if I'm some kind of commander, does that make me her owner? The mother looked at him with both fear and hope. No, it makes you her protector. Behind them, Thela stirred, her hand lifted again, reaching toward Reed. This time, when her fingers touched his arm, the entire room pulsed. The screen changed. Bond confirmed, genetic link stabilized. A diagram showed 2 strands of DNA, his and hers partially matching. Reed's voice shook. "What does that mean?" the mother whispered. "You're not just her protector, you're her blood." Asterisk 6 minutes. That's what the warning said. 6 minutes until they came. Reed stood in the middle of the awakened bunker. Around him, glowing panels blinked. Machines hummed back to life, and old human weapons waited silent but deadly. The name Strike Commander 471A still flashed on the main screen as if trying to remind him who he once was. Or who he was supposed to be. The alien mother held her daughter close, wrapping her in layers of fabric pulled from the supply crates. Thela's breathing had steadied. Her skin was warming, but her eyes still didn't open. "She's half human," Reed said, staring at the DNA chart on the screen. "Yes," the mother answered quietly. "You lied. Protected her. If the slavers knew her blood held Terran code, they wouldn't have captured her. They would have destroyed her." Reed clenched his fists. "And me? Why don't I remember?" The mother looked at him sadly. "Maybe someone wiped your mind. Maybe you were part of a program born to be forgotten, hidden until needed. If that girl hadn't touched you, you would have lived your whole life thinking you were normal." Reed's head pounded. His thoughts swirled. But there wasn't time to understand everything. A second alert flashed. "Breach detected. West tunnel entry." Then a sound like knives scraping across stone. The slaver machines had arrived. Reed grabbed one of the old Terran rifles. It hummed in his hands, the weapon sinking to him instantly. A targeting screen hovered in the air in front of his eyes. He didn't know how he knew what to do. His body just moved. The mother watched him with wide eyes. "What are you going to do?" Reed didn't look at her. "Buy you time." She stood, eyes fierce. "I'll fight too." Reed looked at her for a moment. Then he nodded. "Take the second pod, there's gear in it. Armor, blades. It'll know you. The system just scanned you too." While she suited up, Reed walked to the blast door. He stood tall, rifle ready, shadows flickering on the walls behind him as power surged through the ancient base. Then the screeching stopped. Silence. Reed's muscles tightened. That kind of quiet wasn't peace. It whispered to the bunker. "Activate internal defense grid. Grid online." The system replied. Turrets emerged from the ceiling. Shields formed at the end of the hallway. Motion sensors blinked red. Then they came. The first slaver bot entered like a nightmare on legs. Spider-shaped, tall as a truck, covered in armor. Red eyes scanned the hallway and locked on Reed. Terran DNA detected, the machine said. In a flat voice, "Unauthorized awakening, target. Extermination." 3 more followed it, hovering bots with thin arms ending in drills, syringes, and blades. One held a containment pod. For Thela, Reed didn't wait. He fired once. A beam of white-hot light slammed into the spider-bot's face, melting metal and snapping off 2 of its legs. Turrets roared behind him. The hallway filled with fire and smoke. The mother appeared beside him, dressed in a sleek, strange armor that clung to her like it was alive. In one hand, she held a curved blade made of blue plasma. "For my daughter," she whispered. Dawn charged. Reed followed her. The bunker came alive with war. Alarms screamed, doors sealed behind them. The slavers fought like machines but red, and the mother fought with purpose. Together, they moved like pieces of a dance he didn't know he remembered. He would fire, and she would strike. Drop a drone, and she'd finish the next one before it could fire. They were losing. Until they weren't. Then something changed. One of the flying drones pulled away. It zipped toward the chamber where Thela slept. "No," Reed shouted, but Thela didn't cry. She stood, eyes open, hands glowing. The air around her shimmered with invisible energy. The drone stopped in midair. Stuck, then it dropped, crushed flat by something unseen. The girl blinked once. "Don't touch me." The mother gasped. Her powers awakened. Red ran to her. "Are you hurt?" Thela looked up at him with calm green eyes. No, I'm okay now, Dad. Reed froze. She had never called him that before. Not once. The moment stretched. Then the system spoke again. Remaining threats neutralized. External scans show more incoming. Reed exhaled. We can't stay.
There's a secret exit, the mother said.
At the end of the power room, old freight door. Reed lifted Thela into his arms. What now? She asked softly. He looked down at her, then up at the mother. Now, he said, voice steady. We stop running. We figure out who we are. We fight back. The freight door groaned open like a beast waking from deep sleep. Cold wind rushed through the hidden exit, carrying the scent of rust, oil, and distant fire. Outside lay the old junkyard, stretching like a metal desert under the moon's dull. Sky, twisted towers of forgotten machines rose like skeletons. Smoke still drifted from the wreckage of the earlier explosion. Reed stepped out first, scanning the area. The alien mother, now armored in quiet grace, followed behind him. Her daughter Thela, held tightly in her arms, was no longer just a fragile child. She glowed faintly, not with sickness, but with something powerful, something ancient. They stood together, half hidden behind a stack of broken satellite dishes. Every second felt heavy. Reed tapped the small device on his wrist. Old Terran bracer lit up with a silent pulse. A map of the junkyard blinked into view, showing heat signatures, scattered life forms, old generators, and deep below. Something else. There's a signal, Reed said, pointing at a spot near the far end of the yard. Buried under the core trash field. It's Terran tech, and it's still alive. The mother tilted her head. Alive? Reed nodded. Not people. Systems. War machines. Power cells. But they're not talking to me yet, like they're waiting for something. Thela looked up. They're scared. Reed turned to her. Who's scared? The machines. They know something. Woke up inside me, and they're listening. Her voice sounded older than before. Too old for 5 years. They moved quickly, weaving through heaps of metal. The slaver patrols had cleared out for now, but overhead, far in the clouds, drone flashes flickered like storm lightning. Something bigger was watching. As they reached the marked site, Red knelt beside a massive broken ship engine. Looked like junk, but his bracer beeped faster. Help me clear this, he said. They dug together, Reed with his hands, the mother using her plasma blade to cut through tangled iron, beneath layers of rust and grime. They found a sealed hatch covered in old Terran warnings, authorized personnel only. Omega Vault. Thela stepped forward, her small palm pressing against the rusted lock. With a soft click, it opened. The vault hissed. Inside, silence. And then, light. Rows of weapons, armor, a large cylindrical device humming with deep blue energy. And at the center, a small, round console glowing with the Terran Eagle crest. Reed stepped inside and approached the console. As soon as his hand touched it, a voice echoed around them. Omega Protocol recognized. Strike Commander Garrow, do you wish to activate the last defense? Reed blinked. What defense? The walls changed. Holograms appeared. Ships, satellites, stations hidden under this very junkyard. Buried tech, all part of something. Massive called Project Phoenix. A Terran secret plan to rise again if Earth ever fell. This entire junkyard, Reed whispered, wasn't trash. It was camouflage. They used broken metal to hide weapons? The mother asked. Reed nodded. No one would expect power hidden under garbage. Thela walked closer. They made this for us, so we could fight back when the galaxy forgot who humans were. The system asked again. Activate last defense, Reed hesitated. If he said yes, the galaxy would know. Every nearby fleet, every spy drone, every enemy watching from the stars. They'd all feel it. The Terran beacon would rise and Earth's name would burn back into the dark. But if he said no, they'd stay hunted, hiding, running. He turned to Thela. What do you think? He asked. She reached out and touched the console. Activate. She said outside everything changed. The ground trembled. Trash heaps split open as machines rose from beneath gun turrets, missile bays, power shields. Entire satellite towers straightened like waking giants. Above them, an old, cracked ship suddenly glowed blue at its core. A human war cruiser reborn. The junkyard wasn't garbage anymore. It was a battlefield. A home, a weapon. Reed's bracer buzzed with incoming messages from systems long dead Phoenix. Guardian online, pulse cannons charged, orbital defense grid sinking. The mother looked at him. You just declared war. Reed didn't smile. No, I just reminded the galaxy who we are. Then the sky cracked with thunder, not from weather, but from ships entering the atmosphere. Slaver ships, not drones. Real ones, big ones. They're coming, the mother whispered. Reed turned, eyes hard. Then let them. Asterisk, the sky opened. Like a wound, black ships fell through the cloud slaver vessels. Wide as cities, their metal bellies lined with claws and cages. They didn't sneak in. They wanted to be seen, wanted fear. Reed stood atop a rusted platform, wind whipping through. His eyes locked on the largest ship above. It hovered silently, casting a shadow over the entire junkyard. A storm of drones circled beneath it, scanning the ground like vultures waiting for death. Beside him, the alien mother stood still, gripping her plasma blade. Her armor pulsed gently, sensing battle. Thela stood between them, her eyes glowing. Brighter with every passing second. They've come for her, the mother said. Reed nodded. Then we make them regret it. Inside the command bunker beneath their feet, the reawakened Terran system buzzed. Targeting complete. Orbital weapons locked. Waiting command. Commander Garrow. Reed looked at the glowing console in front of him. His fingerprint still flickered in its center. One word pulsed on the screen, : fire. The mother stepped forward. We should warn them first. Give them a chance to leave. Reed didn't blink. They dropped bombs on refugee camps. They put a mine under a child. They hunted us. But what if others are inside those ships? She asked. Slaves. Prisoners. Innocents. That made him pause. He clenched his jaw. The junkyard wasn't just a weapon. It was now his voice. One wrong word and it would scream fire into the stars. Thela reached out, placing her hand over his. I can talk to them, she said softly. They'll hear me. Reed stared at her. How, I don't know. But they will. She touched the console. Her hand didn't push. Buttons it merged. The surface rippled like water, reading her very being. A new signal opened to clear. Channel across space. Her voice came through it like a soft melody, carried by old Terran code. You are not welcome here. This place belongs to Earth. This is your only warning. Above the lead ship paused. Drones froze midair. Somewhere deep in their systems, something ancient stirred. A Terran signal broadcast from a child was enough to confuse even the machines. But confusion didn't mean mercy. The slaver ships began to open. Panels slid back, revealing warpods. Hundreds of them. They had made their choice. Incoming attack confirmed. The system said coldly. Reed looked at the console one last time, then pressed. Fire. The junkyard howled. Missiles shot up from what looked like garbage piles. Towers unfolded into cannons. Broken engines roared back to life. The old Terran war cruiser, hidden under decades of trash, lifted off the ground, its core glowing like a sun. The sky exploded. Slaver drones were torn apart mid-flight. Pods were destroyed before. Reaching the ground, the largest ship fired back red beams lanced through the smoke butt. Terran shields absorbed them with a crackling roar. Reed ran through the storm, shouting commands. He no longer felt like a cargo hauler. He moved like someone born to lead. Mother fought beside him. Where Reed destroyed from afar, she danced through the chaos with blade and fury. Thela remained at the console. Her eyes closed. Her lips moved silently. She was connected, controlling more than they knew. Inside the slaver flagship, alarms blared. One of the commanders, a pale-skinned beast with cybernetic limbs, shouted, Why can't we override the command node? Who is feeding this signal? The younger officer trembled. It's not a signal. It's her, the child. She's in the system. Impossible. Then explain why our weapons won't fire. Back on the surface, Reed watched the largest ship struggle. She's blocking them, he whispered. She's locking them down from inside their own machines. The mother's eyes widened. That shouldn't be possible. She's part Terran, Reed said. But part something else. Suddenly Thela opened her eyes. They're going to crash their ship straight into the ground. If they can't win, they'll wipe everything out. Reed's blood ran cold. How long? 2 minutes. He grabbed the console. Divert all firepower to the flagship. The war cruiser above tilted upward. Its main cannon charged energy rippling across its hull. Thela, Reed said quickly, can you disable their engines? Can try. She placed both hands. On the console again? Her body began to shake. Sparks ran across her arms. Her voice came out hollow, layered with static. Power. Offline. Above the slaver flagship's engines died. It began to fall. Shields. Reed yelled. The system responded. A massive dome of light formed above the junkyard. The flagship crashed into it like a meteor. The shield held dash barely. The ship split apart in the air. Burning, breaking, scattering across the plains in metal rain. Then, silence. Smoke drifted through the air. The sky, once full of war, was now still. Reed stood in the ashes. Thela was on her knees, breathing hard but alive. The console was dark now, spent. The mother knelt beside her, cradling her gently. You did it? Reed whispered. Thela looked. Up, we did. But before he could speak again, the console blinked back on. Long-range signal received. Earth command node. Responding, Reed stared. Earth is still alive. The console glowed again, not with red alerts, but with soft, golden light. Words scrolled across the screen in an ancient Terran font. Secure uplink established. Origin, Earth command encrypted node 01. Stand by for live message. Reed's heart thudded in his chest. He stared at the display like a man seeing a ghost. I thought Earth was silent, the alien mother whispered, holding Thela close. We thought it had fallen. So did I, Reed said softly. The screen blinked, then turned into a live transmission. The signal was weak, crackling with static, and a face appeared. It was human, an older woman, her face marked by time and battle. Her eyes were sharp, voice steady. This is Admiral Rhea Calder of the Terran Survival Fleet. Whoever activated this beacon, identify yourself. Reed stepped forward. Name's Reed Garrow. I think I was part of Strike. Commander Program 471A. I found your bunker. And I found her. He turned the screen so the Admiral could see Thela. Rhea froze, her mouth opened slightly. But she didn't speak for a long moment. Then, you have no idea what you're holding, do you? Reed frowned. She's part Terran. The systems. She shut down an entire slaver fleet by herself. And she is the last living bloodline protocol, Rhea said, voice low. Project Eva. She was never supposed to be born. The mother flinched. Eva. Rhea nodded slowly. EVA engineered vessel of awakening. A fusion of Terran command DNA and alien neurobonding. She was never a child. She was a key. A living signal. If Earth ever fell and hope was gone, her activation would call us back. Reed's eyes widened. You engineered her? No, Rhea said. We designed her. But someone grew her. That wasn't part of the plan. The mother stood up, holding Thela tighter. She's not a thing. She's my daughter. I understand, Rhea said gently. But now she's more than that. Shh. Every Terran ship across the galaxy heard her call. Some will answer with peace. Others won't. What do you mean? Reed asked. There were those in our fleet who feared mixing with alien blood. They believe purity is power. They won't want her alive. You need to get her off Archon 12. Where? Reed asked. To the Ark, Rhea replied. Coordinates uploading now. It's a Terran sanctuary. Hidden deep space. It's the only place you'll be safe and trained. The screen flickered again, and for a moment, Ria's face disappeared. Reed turned to the mother. You knew something about her, didn't you? Tears filled her eyes. I was a nurse in a biolab. When I saw what they created, I couldn't let them use her. So I ran. I raised her like my own. She is your own, Reed said. That doesn't change. Thela looked up at them both. I don't want to go to the Ark. I want to stay. With you, Reed knelt beside her, and we'll go with you, wherever that is. The console came back alive. Ria's face was grim now. They found me. My location is compromised. I won't be able to send more signals, but listen closely. Ch leaned closer to the screen. They will come for her. You must keep her hidden till she chooses to rise. When she does, don't let them make her a weapon. Let her be human. The screen blinked out. Silence again. Above them, the skies were clearing. The slaver ships were gone. Fire still burned along the far hills, but the junkyard had survived. Red stood, lifting Thela into his arms again. I know where to take you now, he whispered. The mother looked at him. Will she ever be normal again? He smiled. She was never normal, and that's the best part. Soft sound made them turn. Behind them, a small group of junkyard survivors approached. Aliens, humans, even old bots. They had seen the battle, and they saw the girl. Some bowed. Some just watched in awe. She woke the junkyard, someone said. She stopped the slavers. Is she a queen? Reed looked at the mother. The mother looked at Chilla, and Thela smiled. I'm not a queen, she said gently. I'm just someone who got lucky, because someone kind dug me out of the trash. Reed chuckled. You saved us. No, Thela replied. You made me believe I could. The junkyard was quiet now, but deep below its broken metal bones, machines whispered. And far across the galaxy, old enemies began to move, because Earth was no longer silent.